In the heart of medieval Italy, amid the winding streets of Siena, a young woman was born who would one day challenge the course of the entire Catholic Church. This was Catherine, the 24th child of a humble dyer and his wife, destined not for fame or fortune, but for something far greater, a life of radical holiness and fearless conviction that would shake the highest seats of power. Catherine of Siena entered the world in 1347, a time of chaos and uncertainty. The Black Death swept across Europe, leaving devastation in its wake. Political instability fractured kingdoms, and the Church itself was deeply divided. For nearly 70 years, the popes had abandoned their traditional seat in Rome, living instead in the French city of Avignon. The papacy, once the spiritual centre of Christendom, now appeared distant, embroiled in politics and far removed from the suffering of ordinary people. In this world, Catherine grew up, illiterate at first, often misunderstood by her family, and without any formal position in the Church. Yet from a young age, she was drawn to prayer and contemplation. She experienced visions and mystical encounters that set her apart. But she was not content to remain hidden. Instead, she believed that her relationship with God called her to act, to serve the sick and the poor, and, most astonishingly, to influence the course of history. What made Catherine extraordinary was not her education or social status, but her unwavering conviction that truth and love could move mountains. She joined the Third Order of St. Dominic, becoming a laywoman devoted to prayer, service, and penance. But her faith was never passive. As plague and war ravaged Italy, Catherine became a beacon of hope and healing, tending to the suffering with compassion and courage. Yet, her mission was not limited to works of charity. Catherine possessed a rare combination of spiritual insight and practical wisdom. Despite her lack of formal schooling, she wrote hundreds of letters to people in every station of life: merchants and monarchs, soldiers and scholars, priests and peasants. Her words carried weight, not because of her authority or position, but because of the profound sincerity and conviction behind them. Most daring of all were her letters to the Pope himself. At the time, Pope Gregory XI remained in Avignon, reluctant to return to Rome, where political chaos and violence threatened the papal authority. Many had tried and failed to persuade him, but Catherine, armed with nothing but her faith and her pen, spoke with a boldness that startled even the most hardened of rulers. She wrote with urgency and love, reminding the Pope that his authority came not from worldly power, but from his willingness to serve as Christ's representative on earth. She challenged him to rise above fear and self-interest, to fulfill his duty to the Church and the people of God. In one famous letter she pleaded, "Be a manly man and not a coward. Respond to the call of God and go where you are needed most." At first, many dismissed her. After all, what influence could a young, uneducated woman from Siena possibly wield over the supreme head of the Catholic Church? But Catherine's holiness and courage could not be ignored. She travelled to Avignon herself, meeting Pope Gregory face to face. Her presence, her humility, and her unwavering commitment to truth deeply moved him. Against the advice of his counsellors, and at great personal risk, Gregory XI decided to return to Rome, a decision that shaped the future of the Church for centuries to come. Catherine's life is a powerful reminder that true authority is not found in titles or positions, but in the courage to speak the truth with humility. Her story challenges us to consider where we find our own voice. Do we wait for the world to grant us permission, or do we dare to speak out when justice and compassion demand it? She faced ridicule, opposition, and even threats to her life, but she never wavered. Catherine knew that her strength came not from herself, but from her deep communion with God. She reminds us that faith is not a private affair, but a call to action, a summons to bring light into the darkest corners of the world. In a time when women were often silenced or overlooked, Catherine's words echoed across Europe. She became a trusted advisor to kings, queens, and cardinals. She brokered peace between warring factions, healed divisions within the church, and inspired countless others to pursue lives of service and love. By the time of her death at the age of 33, she had left an indelible mark on history, one made not by force, but by the gentle power of truth spoken with conviction. Catherine's legacy endures to this day. Declared a Doctor of the Church, a rare honor recognizing her profound spiritual insight, she stands alongside the greatest teachers of Christian history. Her writings continue to inspire, inviting us to embrace a faith that is alive, courageous, and compassionate. In our own lives, we may feel powerless or insignificant, convinced that our voices cannot possibly make a difference. But Catherine of Siena teaches us that God often works through the least expected people, using even the smallest words and actions to change the world. Her life is a testament to the enduring power of humility, courage, and faith. So, as the evening falls and we reflect on her story, let us remember that our words matter. Each of us is called to speak truth, not with arrogance or pride, but with the humble conviction that comes from a heart attuned to love. Whether we influence a single person or an entire community, our willingness to stand for what is right can echo far beyond what we imagine. Let us draw inspiration from Catherine's example, the woman who confronted popes, healed the sick, and brought hope to a broken world. May we find the courage to speak, to serve, and to trust that even in our smallness, we can become instruments of transformation. Your voice matters. Speak truth with humility and courage, and trust that God can use even your smallest words to change the world.